Hi, it's Clo Bare. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. This is where I talk about money on a weekly basis. Today we're going to talk about what I spent in April 2021. I'll share with you the budget, I'll share with you my net worth update, I'll share with you the amount of money that I spent, and I'll share with you the amount of money that I saved, as well as give you just an update on my goals in general. If you're new here, thank you so much for stopping by. Like I said, we talk about money on this channel, and be sure to stay till the end of the video where I'll share with you my net worth update, and I'll detail out what my net worth is made of, including my savings, my debt, and all of my different investments and things like that. The reason I share this is so that I can be transparent as possible about my journey towards financial independence, so that you too can start to build your wealth and start to reach financial independence. So we'll get right into it today, but before we do, be sure to hit like, be sure to hit subscribe. It helps me out a ton. I have a small channel and any little bit helps a lot. About 50% of my viewers are not subscribers, so if you just take a moment to hit subscribe, it's free to you and it supports me and it helps me grow my channel quite a bit. So in April 2021, I had a really expensive month. At first glance, you'll see that I spent about $15,000, but not all of that was on actual expenses. A good chunk of it, including $6,000, was put into my investments or savings account. So $6,000 was put into my Roth IRA and traditional IRA. I had to only put about $1,500 into my Roth, and the rest I put into my traditional because my income limits do not allow me to put all of my money into a Roth. And then some of that money went into Bitcoin, some of that went into my home fund, and some of that went to paying taxes. Don't get me wrong, April was an extremely expensive month, partially because of the taxes hitting, some extra expenses for Clo Bare, and because my boyfriend and I took a trip to Florida, and I also purchased a trip to go to Mexico with my sister for my 30th birthday, a vaccinated trip. So my wallet is definitely hurting after April, and I'm really hoping that May is gonna be a little bit better. As I'm recording it, it's already May now, and I will say that it's really not much better, but I certainly don't have those huge expenses that I had in April. But let's get to the categories, shall we? So in April 2021, I spent $292 on grocery, which is a lot, and I'm really going to blame most of that on the fact that I have been so busy lately, and so I've been buying a lot of pre-packaged food so that I can just microwave it and be done. I really haven't cooked in months because I've been so busy with Clo Bare and so busy with maintaining my relationship and so busy just like running a business and keeping a full-time job. So I have to recognize that there's a good chance that grocery expenses will probably continue to be high, and that's something I just have to be okay with. Clo Bare also had an insanely expensive month. I spent over $1,800 on Clo Bare last month, and that's for a few different reasons. So Clo Bare obviously contains a lot of different business expenses, and a couple of the things that I bought from the Clo Bare business account was my very first trip to FinCon Expo, which is something that I've been wanting to go to for years. Basically, it's a conference for financial creators. So I'm really excited to go see. Minority Mindset is going to be one of the keynote speakers, and I think it's just going to be a really great investment. So tickets to the in-person event were about $500, and then I also purchased the Airbnb, which was over $800, and I haven't bought the plane ticket yet, but the plane ticket will probably be free because I have a lot of points and credits that I'll be able to use for that. Then in addition to that, I also spent about $300 on a course by Her First 100K. It's all about building a business and launching a business. Because Her First 100K is really doing a lot of the things that I want to be doing someday, I figured why not learn from her, and so I purchased the course. Health Medical, I had another expensive month. I almost spent $600 on Health Medical last month, and that's because of a few different reasons. So I started seeing a holistic doctor who's really focused on integrative functional medicine, and she's extremely expensive. She's about $450 for every visit, and then in addition to that, she also has a subscription fee where basically for as long as I see her, I have to pay $150 a month until I stop being her patient. So it's incredibly expensive. Then in addition to that, I also am paying for things like physical therapy that is out of network, so it's $160 each time. Unfortunately, because I have a high deductible plan, because I wanted to take advantage of an HSA account, I kind of think that these medical expenses are going to continue. I probably should have waited another year before I went to a high deductible plan because really nothing's being covered by insurance right now, and this is probably the year that I've had the most medical expenses probably ever. So I'm really hoping that my medical expenses stay under $10,000 this year, but it's looking like it'll be at least $5,000, if not closer to $8,000 this year, which is a little bit scary, but at the same time, I feel grateful that I have the income to be able to do that. Because our medical system's pretty messed up. Like, it's really messed up that in order to have good health health, you have to pay for it. So renter's insurance was normal. I spent about $8 on renter's insurance. And then transportation had a pretty expensive month too. I spent almost $300 on transportation, and that's because I did a couple of Ubers because of my flight to Florida from my boyfriend's house. We had to take an Uber to get to the airport. And then I also spent money on a rental car because my very first vaccine, I actually went down to my hometown to get it because it was so hard finding a vaccine in my area. So I rented a car for the day, drove down, and got my vaccine. So I was able to get a rental car. I had to put gas into it, and then the rest of transportation went to things like Ubers. Then I only spent $38 on personal, which is pretty good. And personal is things like shampoo, conditioner, toothpaste, whitening strips, skincare, etc. Still spent too much on entertainment this month. I spent $185 on entertainment, and unfortunately most of that was food. So one of the things that I've always needed to work on is spending so much money on eating out. So I definitely need to be more conscious of that in April or in May and moving forward, because I would really like to start living on a lower budget so that I can save more money. And quite frankly, eating out all the time is just a really bad habit for me to get into, and it's not really something that I want to keep doing. Utilities and cell phone were pretty standard. I only spent $115 on my utilities and cell phone. And then there were a few special occasions like getting sushi with my sister, and my boyfriend got a new job, so we had a celebration dinner. So I spent $103 on special occasions. And then, like I said, I transferred $6,000 into my IRA, and that's split a little bit between my Roth IRA and my traditional IRA. Then for dating, I only spent $50 on dating. Last month was a really busy month, so my boyfriend and I really didn't get to see each other that much, unfortunately. So the time that we did, we ended up getting dinner. And then I transferred $550 into my home fund. Now, a note on the home fund. If you've been following along for a while, you know that I've been saving money for a down payment on a rental property. However, because I've been waiting on my real estate investment to pay me out, I was really hoping to use some of that money for my real estate investment to put into my Roth IRA. But because I haven't received it yet and the deadline for the 2020 IRA contributions happened on May 17th, I decided to just swoop into my home fund and move that money over into my Roth IRA. And then once I get paid out from my real estate investment, then I'll use that money to refund my home fund. So right now my home fund's sitting at almost $2,500, which is pretty low. It was almost $7,000 before, so now it's just sitting at that $2,500. And once I get paid, I will use that money from the real estate investment to just kind of fully fund my home fund. Then I also had to pay a significant amount of money on taxes. So part of that $1,200 that I spent on taxes, almost $1,300, was for my quarterly payments, but then I also paid for TurboTax, and then I also paid for the $400 extra that I needed to pay for my state income taxes because I didn't pay enough last year. Logan still had a couple of vet appointments to kind of get her up to date on a few things and get her permitted so that she can go to the dog parks here in Oak Park. So that was $100. And then I started investing in Bitcoin, believe it or not. So I'm on the side of investing in cryptocurrency as long as it's just a really small amount that you're not afraid to lose. So I've been putting about $50 a week into crypto. So I have a split between Ethereum and Bitcoin. I'll probably keep doing that for a while until I learn more about cryptocurrency, but for now I'm just sticking with two of the really big players. And then my rent, of course, cost $14.19. That really doesn't change. And then I had some major travel expenses. I spent $1,500 on travel, and that is between the $500 that I spent on going to Florida, eating out while in Florida, things like that, and then $1,000 spent on booking my trip to Mexico for my birthday. And then in terms of debt, I only put about $672 on my debt. That's for my student loans. And then I also made a $250 donation to the company that my sister works for, a nonprofit. And then I also had a $95 credit card fee. I just opened a Chase Sapphire Reserve credit card, and so that credit card has a $95 a year fee. So my total spending was $15,600, which is insane, but a good chunk of that is actually not spending. It's more like saving and investing. Now, I have not done a very good job at remembering to film things for the spending report, so a lot of this is probably just going to be me telling you what my expenses in, but I will include the vlog clips as well for when I remembered them. So I spent $100 on Facebook ads for Clo Bare. I spent $250 on the donation. I spent $6 on PayPal fees. I spent $118 on the rental car. Okay, so it's not only payday, but I also stopped to the gym on Friday and I got a bunch of groceries at the grocery store next to my gym. So I got a couple bags of frozen veggies, a bunch of tilapia, some rice vinegar, smoked salmon, some tomatoes, and baby spinach. But then I also got this big thing of LaCroix there because I have a LaCroix addiction, and then a big thing of eggs. It just goes to show you how expensive Jewel is because I got all of that. And granted, the salmon and the rice vinegar and the LaCroix was $11 from Jewel, but I got everything else for $30, which is so much cheaper than Jewel. If I had gotten that at Jewel, it probably would have been at least $50. And obviously Aldi is my favorite, but this Mexican grocery store next to my gym is actually pretty decent too. So it's nice too because I can go to the gym and then right afterwards I can grab some groceries. I feel like this was a particularly good deal because it's fish and it's 16 ounce, a pound of fish, and it was $5, which, I mean, I don't feel like I ever find fish for $5, especially a whole pound. $10 on Subway and snacks, which was from when I went down to my hometown to get vaccinated. Okay, with driving to and from my hometown today, which was about 5 hours of driving, and just like getting up early to do all of that, I was completely exhausted tonight, so I ended up ordering sushi for $32. But I did get a coupon for $10 off. It would have been $42, but I got it for $32. So yes, that's not great. It's not something that I like doing. I don't like ordering out all the time, especially when I'm just chilling at home, but desperate times call for desperate measures, man. $672 of my student loans, $43 on gas, $8 on candy because I am a candy fiend. $100, I gave my neighbor $100 for watching my dog while my boyfriend and I were in Florida. The Uber to the airport was $70. When we were at the airport, I spent $17 on lunch, $50 on the rental car. We had to pay an extra $100 fee while we were down in Florida for adding a passenger. And then $32 for groceries for the weeks down in Florida. And then I spent a bunch of money on lunch for $13 and parking for $31. Then I spent $95 on the Chase Sapphire credit card fee. I spent $75 just on a day trip while we were down in Florida. I spent $119 on Canva Pro. So if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see a lot of the content that I create are graphics, and I build all of my graphics on Canva. So I decided to up to Canva Pro. It just offers a few more features. It's $119 for a whole year, which really isn't bad, especially with all of the different things that Canva does. $12 on G Suite, $23 on gas for my apartment, $33 on beer and soda, $62 on a beach day with my boyfriend down in Florida, and then $19 for my gym membership, $73 for groceries and Thai food, $50 for a check bag. We went through Spirit, which was stupid. Every time I go through Spirit, I'm like, never again will I do Spirit. And then I do it again because they're so cheap. But we ended up booking through Spirit, and I had to check my bag because my carry-on was just too big for Spirit. Then I spent $14.19 on rent, $33 on lunch, and then my trip to Mexico was $1,080. I just bought my ticket to FinCon 2021, so that was $490. But the nice thing is, it's a business expense. And then I also just booked my Airbnb, which was $858. I figured I'll make a trip out of it, so I'll be there for 5 days. And then I also purchased the Her First 100K course, and that was about $300. And then I spent $24 on gas. Okay, so I just got back from Florida today. My boyfriend and I were in Florida. Little Logan is very happy that we are back, but we were there visiting his mom, who he hadn't seen in a while, and so I got some groceries today. Of course, I was lazy because we didn't sleep last night because we had a really early flight this morning. Logan's over here drinking her water, so that's what you're hearing in the background. But I really didn't get any sleep last night, and I had to film a bunch of TikToks today, so I didn't have a ton of time. So of course I went to Jewel, and this is what I got. Okay, so I did a little bit better. All of this was $50. So I got some apples, 2 things of tofu. These grapes are so expensive because they're dark grapes. That was $7, and it's like a pound. Some bananas, some sauerkraut, because I'm trying to try sauerkraut instead of kimchi all the time because sauerkraut's so much less expensive than coconut milk, garbanzo beans, a bone for my dog since she had to deal with me being gone for a week, some chocolate hummus for my apples, and then 2 veggie juices, which I don't know, I just love these and they help me like recalibrate from eating crap for a week. So like I said, all of that was about $50. Then as we move along, I spent $550 in my home fund. All right, I just went to the grocery store. If you can't tell by my hat, I always go after I work out. I was able to get quite a few things. I went to Aldi this time. Yay, no more Jewel. So I got my staple sushi for my Friday night fun dinner. I got some bananas. I got a bunch of sauces. So I eat really basic stuff during the week because it saves me a lot of money. That's Logan drinking water in the background. So a lot of the times I'll just microwave some frozen vegetables and I'll just put a random sauce on it. I really love this General Tso's sauce, and I also really love this sweet and sour sauce. They're both pretty inexpensive. And then sometimes I'll make my own peanut sauce. I also got these, I love Aldi, Elevation chocolate coconut bars. I think they have protein in them too. So they're like a healthy treat. Flatbread crackers, which I love with my salads. These Fiber One knockoffs, Fiber Now. They're like little baked bars that are lemon. They're really good. I usually really like the apple or the coffee cake one. It's really good, but they didn't have them. And then I got a bunch of these. They're like little tuna snack things where they have like a little can of tuna salad and then some crackers. So I figured those would be some good snacks. I eat oatmeal literally every single morning. So I got some more oatmeal. I usually put like a banana in it. And then I loaded up on frozen veggies, which really helps me save a lot of money in grocery shopping. These were on sale for 99 cents, and it's like 12 ounces of cauliflower and broccoli. And I will say Season's Choice, this brand, they are really good about giving you the actual full piece of broccoli instead of just like the end pieces, which I hate. Logan loves the end pieces. Every time I open the freezer, she hopes that I give her some. I also got these. I love these. These are the chickenless patties. And then what else did I get? Oh, I got some vegan mocha fudge ice cream because why not? And then I'm also trying a new seltzer, the Aha seltzer from Coca-Cola. And it has caffeine in it, but only a little bit. It only has, I generally don't drink caffeine anymore, and that only has 30 milligrams. So I got some fruit too, and some tzatziki sauce, and some like stuff for making the sauce that I make, like honey, soy sauce, and whatnot. And like I said, the total ended up being $66, which is better than what I spent at Jewel. $150 on Bitcoin. This is my very first deposit into Bitcoin. I just got back from the DMV, which, you know, is life-sucking and awful. Had to renew my license because I'm turning 30 in a month, and my dog is smelling me. Like, she's like, where were you? And why are you wearing jeans? But renewing my license, which took about an hour and a half of my time. I ended up going at 7 this morning, and they were appointment only, so I had to make an appointment, come back later, and that cost $30. So I have a renewed license. What's annoying is in Illinois, we're doing the real ID. And in order to do the real ID, you have to make a special appointment and bring all this extra paperwork, which I didn't do. So I just renewed my license, and that's it. But oh well, I'll just use my passport when I travel. I had to make a tax payment to the Illinois state, which was $433. I just did my taxes. I know I am late, or I'm not late, but I'm on April 10th paying them, and now I need to then go pay my estimated taxes since I make money on the side. But yeah, that was $255. It was $255 because I used TurboTax. And I did get a return, but that's only because I overpaid on my estimated taxes, which if you do freelance and you make over $1,000 a year, you have to pay estimated taxes, both for your state and your federal ones. So at least I'm getting some money back. It's not bad. And then I paid $600 on quarterly taxes for federal and $400 on quarterly taxes for the state. And then I spent $68 on my cell phone and $16 on vitamin D. Well, I just had to spend $20 on a replacement remote for these videos. I had one of those moments where I was getting ready to film the March 2021 spending report video and I couldn't find my freaking remote. So it's been one of those days. I spent like a solid 40 minutes looking for the remote and couldn't find it. So it's been a solid 40 minutes of me looking for the remote, getting annoyed, and I couldn't find it. So I finally just said, okay, we're gonna film without a remote today and we're gonna order a new one. So annoying. I also spent $20 on quarters for laundry, $10 on snacks. I transferred $6,000 into my IRA. Okay, so I ordered this phone stand. It's a Clo Bare expense, so it's okay, but that was 20 bucks. I had to do it because the phone stand ripped off of my other tripod, so I had to replace it. And then I also spent $20 on a new tripod because I'm not sure if the new phone jack will work or not, so I figure it's not a bad idea to have two just in case. Then I spent $21 on snacks. Okay, I didn't know this was possible, but I just spent $140 at Aldi. That's gonna get split between entertainment and groceries because some of it's for, I'm having one of my friends over tomorrow night and my boyfriend, and we're going to make a charcuterie board. He's leaving town, he's moving to another neighborhood, so it's like a mini going away even though he's only moving to another neighborhood. So I kind of just got carried away with my charcuterie board. Those things are so expensive to make, but it sounded good. So yeah, $140. I'll probably like split it between entertainment and groceries, to be honest. I had to get more allergy medication. This was $15, and honestly, whenever I buy medication like this, I do like to go on Amazon because most of the time I can get it way cheaper at Amazon than I would if I went to somewhere like Walgreens. $15 for 300 tablets of basically an off-brand version of Zyrtex is really good. $127 on some sleeping aids and $50 on Bitcoin. Then on the 21st, I had to spend $425 on my doctor bill, which I'm really hoping that this doctor is legit. I don't know yet because I haven't been seeing her long enough, so I'm gonna give it a few months before I decide whether or not I wanna keep seeing this doctor. And then I spent $60 on a Mother's Day gift, $42 on a bulk tea order, and $40 on dinner with my sister. And that was it. So now let's talk about my total savings and my total net worth situation. So my emergency fund has $10,000 in it. My home fund only has $2,000 in it. Then my real estate investment still has $58,000 in it. And then my 401k at the time of filming this is at $87,000. My IRA is at $6,000. And that brings my total savings to about $163,000. Now my student loan debt is sitting at $27,000. So that brings my updated net worth to $136,000. That's a $4,000 increase from last month. So even though that this was a really expensive month, I was still able to increase my net worth by about $4,000, and that really just comes from paying off debt, investing, and saving money. Anyway, thank you so much for sticking around for this. This is really what my April spending looks like, and what my plans are for May is to try and spend less. I also am really looking at potentially quitting my job someday so that I can pursue Clo Bare full time. And because of that, I'd really like to stick to spending less than $3,000 a month on my essential expenses so that I only need to focus on bringing in money to cover my expenses, which will be a whole lot easier when I launch my business full time. So those are kind of my goals. We'll see what happens, but I definitely just need to start saving more money. But let me know what you're doing in May and in June, since we're almost to June already. Crazy. And thank you so much for watching. Be sure to hit like, be sure to hit subscribe. And if you don't follow me on Instagram or TikTok, go ahead and do that too. My handle is down below. I post on TikToks 3 to 5 times a day, and it's all money education. And I post on Instagram at least twice a day and more times in my story. So it's all money education, and you going and following over there really helps me out too. So thank you so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.